Oh, hi. Hello, everyone. I'm Myrna Matt Weasel. So, the recording time is 7 a.m., and Wilson was supposed to be here, but he told me, quote unquote, that 7 a.m. is when the gas station down the corner opens, so I need to go buy some scratch offs and a six pack. So, I'm gonna fill in for Wilson right now for drama. Drama is all about that exciting, emotional, or unexpected series of events that set the stage. A good drama is a story that forces your characters to reveal who they really are through increasingly difficult choices and reactions. And much like how Wilson faced a difficult choice this morning between going to work and driving 90 through a school zone, so too do this year's nominees for Best Drama.
よし。汚れなし、水滴なし、カビなし、アメニティよし。顔で生きていくしかありません。
私はずっと待ってた。そんな特別な一瞬を。残念だよ。太陽速巨峰より
事務所も厳しいし。
なんでさ。
なんでもない。じゃあね。
人は栄唱をなくして魔力を扱うことはできない。ところがその不可能を可能にしてしまった一人の手。
And your jury winner for Drama of the Year is Medalist. And your public winner for Drama of the Year is Orb on the Movements of the Earth.
You know, there's a line in the beginning of Medalist where Tsukasa says, "I'll make you into such a great athlete, Inori, everyone will think you're a genius. The kind of skater people will want to win." And I think it happened. Medalist took home the gold.
Definitely happened for me. So yeah, I just want to say going into this, Medalist is my favorite anime of the year. So I am a big fan of that choice here. And when Wilson was showing me these categories, a big reason why I chose Drama of the Year is that I literally could not find Medalist anywhere else in any of the categories, except for, the voice acting. So I was ready to come in here and I was ready to defend this show to the death. I was going to be like, you didn't get it. None of you got it. What's going on here? So to see it ranked as highly as it is here is definitely a pleasant surprise. But it also makes me wonder about it in those other places. Like, I know there's probably different deliberation teams and different people who are deciding these things. But for me, Medalist, I would have put that in Best Ensemble, a great cast of characters in this series, Best Soundtrack, Yuki Hayashi is the GOAT, Anime of the Year, obviously. So I'm wondering, we don't have to get too deep into the nitty gritty of how it works, but is this a case where it just excelled in drama but didn't belong in those other categories? Or was there just a difference in opinion between the groups or what?
It is definitely more of the latter case, which is a difference in opinion, because
Okay.
the people are supposed to be judging this, not whether it's like, for example, like comedy. They're not judging if it's the best comedy that's existing,
Yeah.
because that's really hard, because then you're judging like, well, how many jokes does it have per minute? Like, what is the criteria right here?
Yeah.
So, no, it's just a different set of people looking into it. But I agree with you. I think Medalist is so fantastic, and I think that one of the ways that it really excels is its use of conflict, because there's this underlying idea about carving out legitimacy in a system that said you were too late to matter. And what a really good drama is that it doesn't just fight between other competitors, it fights against something much more larger. So in this case, Inori is fighting the system that says you were too late to compete in this. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that Medalist is just landing on just a bunch of notes that you don't typically see in a lot of other sports anime.
Well, that's what I loved about the series is that like there really is no antagonistic force in the series for Inori. Like really you're rooting for every single character in this series. Like everybody who ends up skating, like by the end of the episode you're crying for them because it's just so well done. And yeah, like you said, it's more of an internal conflict that comes from the drama and the way it's handled in the story, and that's what I loved most about it.
Right. And I think that one reason that Medalist is really taking the world by storm right now is not only is it airing during the Winter Olympics, which fantastic timing right there, but I think that a lot of viewers can recognize feeling behind on something. So they may not be able to get behind the idea of like figure skating in general, but there's an empathy that creates an emotional buy-in when you see like, oh, okay, like this very specific instance of this young girl not being able to catch up to all the other girls and fit in. I can relate to that. And I think that that's really capturing everything.
Yeah, it's a very universal quality of like, you know, is it too late for me to start this? Or is it too late for me to be good at this thing that I want to be good at? And I definitely can connect to that in a lot of ways myself.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I want to pivot a little bit off of Medalist for right now and go into Orb. Now, Biggie, what can you tell me about Orb in that, like, how it creates its conflicts? What do you think makes it such a great drama?
Personally, I absolutely love Orb. And one of the central conflict with the church and the oppression of scientific discovery is one of the strongest aspects of the show. It always keeps it tense. It's not just a great drama, but it's almost a great thriller as well. With Nowak is a great antagonist due to his representation of the church. But at the center, I really think what Orb does extremely well in terms of conflict is the internal struggles of some of our characters, like Oxy, for example, in how he struggles with being a peasant, someone who has thought God has forsaken the earth, but he learns to kind of accept himself and accept the circumstances of the world and see the beauty in it. And I think there is a very beautiful kind of conflict.
I know that Orb likes to shift protagonist. That was one of the calling cards for the series. Yeah, what can you tell me more about that? Like, what makes that a very interesting structural choice for Orb?
I think it's one of the most brilliant things about Orb and what really sets it apart from anything else I've really seen. With the central theme of the passing of the torch of scientific knowledge, having a different protagonist for each arc really illustrates that passing of time and how knowledge is built upon by individuals as time passes.
I was just going to say, the way you're describing this, I don't know much about this series, but the way you're describing that shifting protagonist style sounds like To Your Eternity, where like it kind of keeps, it still is the same central character, but it kind of keeps shifting from character to character, if that makes sense.
Interesting. I haven't seen To Your Eternity
my
yet.
bad.
But
My bad. Again, I don't know much about this series, but I like the idea. The one thing I do know is that apparently, you know, this series dives into a lot of, you're talking about like this deep personal, like intimate angle of the series, but I know that it is also very, you know, philosophical, and like it dives into like these very big subjects as well. So it's kind of cool to hear how it takes those big subjects and like applies it to a small core.
Yeah, I think that like there's an interesting parallel between both winners for the jury and the public, because Medalist is fighting against a system that's saying like it's too late to compete, and Orb is also challenging the status quo as well. Like it's saying like, oh, there's a truth that exists out there, and are you willing to die for that truth? Like how much are you willing to go the distance for this? And I think that like both the jury and the public are tapping into this specific idea for this year, which has made them rise to the top right there. I do want to talk a little bit more about this one because it really grabbed my attention when it premiered, which is the jury's number 2 pick, Apocalypse Hotel, which I adored. Phenom, you were telling me that you had watched that show as well, right?
I did. This is maybe one of the most unique anime I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's one of those things where you finish it and you can't really draw a direct comparison to, like, in my head, I couldn't really draw a direct comparison to anything. Like, it's very much of its own kind. And one of the things I loved most about it, it's interesting to see it in drama because I also think it's like just as funny as it is dramatic. And I'm wondering, like, was there any discussion of like, oh God, which category do we put this in?
Oh man, we fought. I think we went 2 whole days of discussion on this, where all of us were just split on where to put it. We didn't know if it belonged in drama or comedy or even slice of life. One of the neat things that I discovered about Apocalypse Hotel is that it actually was originally written as a pure comedy.
That does not surprise me at all. That
I know.
Really does not. It's so funny.
But they decided to pivot it into like an examination of humanity's excess, which in a way I think is like very interesting. Like it gives another layer underneath it. So yeah, we did have a lot of trouble trying to describe what genre it belonged to.
This is another one where I was like, man, this is pure our anime bait. So I was like so surprised, not even more than Medalist. I was surprised not to see like the jury try to get this into anime of the year.
Biggie, can you talk to us more about, the jury's decision to say, we love Apocalypse Hotel. Like, we obviously love it. We put it number 2 of all the drama that aired this year.
It's clear, yeah.
It's clearly one of the best. But Medalist still reigns supreme. Can you talk to us more about, like, what the process was for evaluating between all of these shows and drama?
Generally, there was comparison between. We separated it into 3 different tiers where we voted, like, generally which tier it would place in. Like, for example, the bottom few were like in the bottom tier because we knew they were going to be at the bottom, and the top tier had Medalist, Apocalypse Hotel, and Orb because we knew they would be like the top 3. And what Apocalypse Hotel did so well to end up in the top tier is that just everybody liked it. It's really not a divisive show because it's just wonderful. It just has great production. It has a great central main character, has solid supporting cast, and it's unique without being too alienating. In general, it was just a very strong choice that basically every single juror liked. Some people had like minor problems, like for example, I kind of wish it leaned more into the melancholic side for more of the runtime, but generally the complaints were small and Yachio reigned supreme.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like tying back into what you were saying about how these aren't really evaluated by like, quantifying the drama in the series. Like this had, 20 drama scenes, so it's better than so-and-so. This is one where I think its drama is great and its comedy is great, and the melancholic side of it is also great. Like that, I think it's episode 11 where it's just completely silent and she's, just walking around the city. It's more like all of these elements come together, and that's what makes it so great.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea of a robot that's so welcoming that she inadvertently turns the entire planet into a hotel where others feel comfortable. Like that's just such a wonderful thing right there. It really is like, when I think about it, it is a capital O original anime. It's exactly like you said, Phenom, in the beginning, where like you can't really find anything else to compare it to. Like it's its own animal, it's its own breed.
The closest thing I came to as far as like a comparison when I was like trying to describe it, I was like, you gotta watch this. It does give me vibes and like colors of Eccentric Family. If either of you have seen Eccentric Family.
Oh yeah, I see it. I see your vision.
I wouldn't make like a direct comparison, but it's like it evokes those same feelings, I guess.
Yeah, it's got like it's the vibes of it. You're like, I see it, and if you vibe with Apocalypse Hotel, you're gonna get along with Eccentric Family as well. No, that's a
Yeah,
great pick.
I see right here that Ave Mujica is at number 5, and already I find that kind of interesting that it's like right dead set in the middle there. And you know, famously, the prequel series to Ave Mujica, the My Go, famously won the Our Anime of the Year award. And I noticed, like, you know, talking to my friends and talking to the people who are watching it weekly along with me, Ave Mujica is like way more divisive, I found. Like, it's way more contentious. And it's interesting to see it like right here in the middle. Like, obviously everyone still liked it enough to put it in the list, but I'm wondering, was there any like contention in the deliberation process of like how high it should be, how low it should be?
Me. I hate it. But
Well, okay, if we're being honest here, then yeah, I hated it too. Sorry to anybody watching who liked it.
Okay, I'll join in and say I'll whisper and say like, yeah, I didn't like it either.
Ave Mujica was easily the most divisive.
Okay.
Half the jury had it bottom tier, bottom place. The other half had it like top, and then there were a few who had it in the middle.
That's really funny.
We argued quite a bit about that one, but it's one of those shows where it's really you have an idea of it, you love it or hate it kind of show. And
Yeah.
I respect some of the choices it made, but I'm not huge on many of the others. But since it was so divisive, it ended up near the middle.
Yeah, that's the perfect place to put it. That's what I found interesting, and that's kind of another reason why I was thinking about, like, you know, wondering how these things are deliberated behind the scenes, because like it's also an anime of the year, and yet, you know, most of the stuff above it, or like half of the stuff above it, like Medalist and Apocalypse Hotel, like didn't make the cut. So I was curious if that was just because of, you know, anime of the year like have their own deliberators in there.
The reasoning behind it is that the juries are composed of different individuals with different taste, and in some ways that's supposed to be a positive. So what you might value as somebody in drama can be completely different in anime of the year, and so and so. Like, the bar to entry into anime of the year is supposedly higher than getting into one of the genre categories. That's not saying like anime of the year jurors are smarter. I'm not saying that. Like, that's not.
No, I did.
Yeah, but there is a different composition between there, and this happens a lot. So like in 2022, Anime of the Year crowned Yamano Sesame for season 4, as the winner for Anime of the Year, and I think it placed like 7th.
It placed fourth.
It placed fourth. Yeah,
I think it was fourth. It was behind Do It Yourself and Akebi.
Right.
In what category?
Slice of life.
Okay. See, I remember it. Yeah, I remember that. I was like, I kind of like, you know, rationality it in my head is like, okay, maybe they didn't think it was like as good of a slice of life, but then, you know, they loved it more just overall. That was kind of the way I was rationing it. But
I see the confusion from an outside point of view, being like, how can this even be possible? How can like this series rank so low on here and like rank so high in here? But like ultimately you just have different people with different criteria of evaluation, and that's just how it just shakes out right there.
I totally get it. I was just curious, like just on a personal level. I was like, where's Medalist in Anime of the Year?
I just want to mention like one little fun fact that we were discussing in the general Discord. The general. Yeah, you know how we have Silent Witch at 9th?
Yeah.
That one almost got into Anime of the Year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was
like on the jury side?
Yeah, on the jury side, just to show how different opinions can be.
That is funny. I still haven't watched that one. I saw like you know, a bunch of, you know, Bocchi the Rock faces, and I was like, I should probably check that out sometime.
Bocchi's better.
Surprisingly, it does have great sound design. Its director is his name escapes me, but he actually is very talented at using that to his advantage. So that might be one of the very first things you notice when you watch Secret of the Silent Witch, and be like, oh, okay, this is really taking it into that function. Well, all great dramas have great conflict, and I'm really proud of the winners that we have right here: Medalist and Orb on the Movements of the Earth. you know, if Medalist is about believing you deserve to try, then Orb is about deciding whether the truth is worth dying for. So I'm excited to see what else that we have going on board for the rest of the categories. So thank you again, Biggie, for coming on, and Phenom for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
Having won the award for Best Drama at the R Anime Awards, all the staff here are feeling a mix of surprise with great joy. When looking at Tsurumaikara Sensei's depiction of athletes who dedicate themselves to the ice, and whose passion threatens to shorten their lives, we were faced with the question of just how to make that materialize as animation. To see that the days we spent on that continuous challenge have reached across the sea to you all fills our hearts with pride. We thank all the fans from the bottom of our hearts for watching the story of the two resonant lonely souls of Inori and Tsukasa, right to the end. We would like to accept this award with all of you, the audience across the world who showed us such appreciation for our show, from all the production staff at NG.